Hey, recording this video Monday 5th of March 2012. Hope you had a good day's trade today. It's 2:51 p.m. Chicago time, just recording this for the close of the day. And we had a little bit of a sell-off today, but we found support about 58 and rallied since then. Just watch out because this was fairly low volume down there. I know the market's not closed yet, but about 1.1 million contracts traded so far. And I still think we're in an uptrend. We're kind of trying to form a topping out pattern here. So on the daily chart, we're still in an uptrend, broken above resistance here at the beginning of the year. And we need to see pullback to end of trend on the daily chart before this thing is over. And then to identify, the topping out pattern, what I'm looking for is the lower time frames to see end of trend moves in the lower time frames and gradually moving up. So the lowest time frame compared to a daily chart is a 45-minute chart. So you go down, divide by 3, so 405 minutes in a day. The lowest time frame is 45-minute chart. So you can see here Thursday we had our pullback to end of trend sequence on the lowest time frame chart up here in the 70s. So we've kind of sold off since then. And then the next time frame up, the 135-minute chart, we're coming down to form pullback in an uptrend on this move. So the 45-minute chart kind of gives us the left shoulder here. The head will be marked by pullback to end of trend on the 135-minute chart, and then the final push will be pullback to end of trend on the daily chart. So don't think this trend move is over. Plus, when you look at the average trade size, last couple of days, Friday's trade and Monday's trades, a very low average trade size on this pullback. So similar to this kind of last retest down. So I think we've got just amateurs trying to sell this move just a little bit too early. I think we're going to test back up and see kind of final profit taken by the professionals. I know we had this whole bunch of professional blue bars kind of going into this. I mean, because the highs kept on broken, all you can assume is that they were just buying a continuation of the breakout here. So, but just be aware we've got this kind of pullback happening. And it's not a terribly strong pullback. It's being led by the amateurs low volume as well, so we're likely to retest back up to the highs. We look at the highest time frame tip bar charts. Let me just go to the 40,500 tip bar chart. Friday's activity, Thursday night into Friday's activity, Rambo bar into a little bit of a sell-off, and then today's activity, continuation of this sell-off. We've had our exhaustion selling, but it's relatively weak selling going on when you look at better momentum. So it's not as if there's a real rush for the doors here. And then when we go to the 13,500 tip bar chart, it's like a complex correction on the way down, just hitting these support and resistance levels. We haven't broken into a trend move. And again, just looking at the amount of selling that's going on, it's relatively muted, pretty weak. Blue professional bar kind of steps in midday at 58.60s to pick it up. Got blue professional bar coming in at the end of the day, so we'll kind of wait and see what happens there. Could easily test down tomorrow, but just be aware that this could be just a weak kind of sell-off move. Continuation of the uptrend kind of keeps going. And when I look at the risk on and the risk off charts, it's not as if they're kind of joining in. We've still got the risk on charts relatively weak, relatively strong. The weakest of them is the Aussie dollar, but the others are, still look like they're in uptrends. And then lastly, the 4,500 tip bar chart here, you can see this move down again. We didn't from Thursdays into Friday's activity. None of these levels kind of ended up being pullback to end of trend moves. It's all kind of complex correction type stuff, and then we kind of made a fairly serious bottom here at 58 and have rallied since then. With after exhaustion selling bullish divergence kind of coming in, blue professional bars at the lows, coming in here again at those lows. So in terms of signals today, 1500 tip bar chart, the bullish and bearish divergence signals on better momentum, really nice for trend changes during the day. So you can see bullish divergence and we go into a little bit of an uptrend, bearish divergence, we go into this really serious downtrend, bullish divergence sets up after pullback to end of trend for this uptrend, and so on. The way to be using these, once you've broken into a trend move like this and you see exhaustion selling, you have to wait for price. So pullback to end of trend is the kind of signal for the end of that kind of trend move. But if they're happening at support and resistance levels like this, they're kind of good signals there. I was waiting for some confirmation after this bearish divergence signal, like an amateur up bar, something like that, to get into this move, but it was just so fast. Just look at it, just kind of took off the downside. No room to get in on this move on the way down. The only place for me to get in was pullback to end of trend kind of sequence here, so I got short at 61.50, but got scared out of it at 60.50, so I only picked out a point out of this move here, which is pretty weak really, so I should have been holding all the way to that end of trend, and then got in a little bit too early in terms of a long trade. So Having seen the end of trend signal here, blue professional bars kind of come into acquire a little bit of an amateur down bar or an amateur bar on that little retrace, and then the blue professional bars kind of come in showing professional acquisition, and we break the highs of that. So as soon as we had a test down bar, amateur down bar, that's where I was getting long. So I was long at 61 even, and then this thing wasn't over. We had to test it. We actually hadn't had exhaustion selling on the 500 tip bar chart, so we needed to test a little bit, a couple of times, and this is the best test kind of down here, back into 60s, 59s. Blue professional bar kind of comes in, and then we kind of raced away, and I took profits at 63.50 up here, so it's not too unhappy with that. Anyway, so there we go. We're in the middle of what feels like a hurricane here in Kauai, and we've got friends over from Australia, so I'll try and get this video out quickly. Hope you had a good day's trading.